The Telegraph, boosting exam grades would harm Generation COVID for life. That's an article by Gavin Williamson in the Daily Telegraph. Delighted to say we've actually got the Education Secretary on the line right now. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Julia.
Good morning. The joys of the internet, eh? Let's start with A-level results today. 250,000 students going to get their grades today. 100,000 of those, though, will get a lower grade than predicted by teachers. Everyone's calling this exams chaos. They're saying this is unfair. Is it either of those things?
Well, when you're in a situation, the best form of assessment is exams, but we were in a situation where we weren't able to run exams, and we had to sort of deal with that, and we had to put procedures in place. That's why Ofqual, in one of the largest public consultations they ever did, came up with this system that ensures there's checks and balances in place for students to be able to get their grades. It's not the place we'd like to be in, Julia, but it's trying to make sure there's fairness, and we're going to be seeing the number of students getting A's and A stars increasing this year by 2%. More students are going to be doing better than they were last year, and what's key is for them to be in a position to be able to move on to their next stage of either learning, going to college or university, or going into the world of work.
So this is going to be a very different situation from what's happened in Scotland, where the government there decided to overrule the exam board and just basically give everyone the grades that the teachers have predicted. You're saying there are still going to be more pupils getting better grades than ever before. So to a certain extent, this is actually unfair on the pupils last year and next year who will have to work and actually do the exams and work harder to get the same grades. Also unfair on those who do deserve those grades and would have got them if they'd done the exam. So when people are saying it's unfair that kids aren't getting the higher grades they want, are they actually wrong? Is it the other way around? Actually, there's still going to be an awful lot of kids who are overmarked.
Well, we have to be in a situation where we put these checks and balances in to ensure that there's fairness for past years and for future years, as well as this year cohort this year. It's also been really important to ensure that when employers look at these results, they realise there's credibility about them, and actually there's a sense of, if someone's got an A means an A. And that's why Ofqual put a, rigorous system in place. But this isn't a substitute. This isn't this isn't as good as an exam.
No.
And there will be youngsters who get grades where both their teachers and they feel that that's unfair. And what's so important that they have the ability to properly appeal on those grounds and be in a situation of being able to move on. And that's why we put the triple lock there. So, if someone's got mock exams, valid mock exams that are so much better than the grade they've got, that stands as a really a principal point of how they can appeal and how they can get that grade as against for one that they've been been awarded. And they can also be in a situation, and some will take this up, and we're only part of the United Kingdom, have said every single exam will be running those in the autumn term. So if youngsters want to be able to take those exams because they actually feel they could have done better, they can do that.
Okay, and have we decided yet what will count as a valid mock exam? Of course, they're not going to announce until next week what will be, considered to be sort of proper exam conditions. Some people might have different ideas about this. Obviously, a test taken at home won't count. But again, different schools kind of different policies. There'll be some schools that didn't do mock exams. They won't have that option. And there's always going to be someone who's going to be able to say, what about me? But has there been a decision made about exactly what criteria will be used?
So Ofqual will be sharing that criteria with schools early part of next week. We're asking schools where they have concerns about the grades to compile that, be ready to sort of submit that. There'll be a whole series of grounds that actually schools are able to appeal on behalf of their youngsters within that school. And we've made changes to the appeals process because we recognise these are truly extraordinary sort of times. And we've got to give the maximum amount of flexibility, but most importantly, the maximum amount of fairness for young people so that they're not held back from progressing in their lives. And we've also been working really closely with the university sector. So they're sort of moved back the date that they'd usually have in order so that youngsters, if they're wanting to appeal their grades, that they can do that, so we can get those turned around so they're still able to take the university place. And we've been working with the universities, asking them to show the maximum amount of flexibility. So youngsters, when they get their grades, and I think hundreds of thousands of them will be getting their grades and realising they can take the next step on in terms of their lives.
Okay. The thing about this is, and you know perfectly well, there'll be an awful lot of people, it's the sharp-elbowed middle classes whose little Johnny or little Jane hasn't got the A grades or the 9 or whatever they thought they were going to get, and they haven't got their place at Oxbridge or whatever it is, and they're going to be kicking up a storm, and there are going to be cases of a bright working-class kid from a sink estate who's done really well and should have got straight A's and hasn't got them. There are going to be so many stories. The heartstrings are going to be pulled, and you and Boris Johnson, Keir Starmer said this chaos comes down to Boris Johnson, not even to you. You got away scot-free on that one. That you're going to be blamed. Do you think it's fair? Because I think a lot of people listening to this will say, look, we know life's not fair, and it's not been fair on anyone during the lockdown period. But an awful lot of the people complaining right now about what's going on are the same people who wanted us to lock down earlier and lock down harder and lock down longer, which would have meant kids still didn't get their exam results. Is there any completely fair way of doing this when you don't actually have the exams taken?
There is no substitute for exams, no substitute at all. What we've done is devised a system that puts the checks and balances in there, heavily focuses on being fair to the maximum number of pupils as possible, but there is no system that is as good as exams, and no one would want to be in a situation as we found ourselves in, of having to make these decisions of both cancelling exams and then putting forward a system to try and ensure that people were able to continue to be able to get their grades as they have to.
Let's also talk about schools going back in a few weeks' time. I have to say, I'm sending my kid to school whether it's open or not. I don't think schools should ever have been closed, and I know the awful lot in government who feel that way as well. Some teaching unions, particularly the National Education Union, are looking, it seems, for every possible reason to stop their teachers going back. They've basically threatened that we can stop you opening many of the schools by simply refusing to cooperate. Should teachers who once assured that the schools are safe, who refuse to work, should they still be paid?
I think that all teachers will be back into school. The teachers I speak to are enthusiastic, are really looking forward to welcoming back their children. There's a real sense, I think, right across the country, now is the right time to get all schools open and all pupils back into it. And we expect to see all children back into school, all teachers back in school as well, teaching them. And I just have no doubt that is what is going to happen there, Julia.
What about the concerns from Public Health England in a yet unpublished report, but leaked to the Times the other day, that, yes, primary school pupils, very, very low infection rate, very low ability to actually transmit the virus to each other and to teachers. But secondary school, the older the pupils get, the more they act like adults in terms of their ability to get infected and to infect others. And that's going to be a concern for teachers who are teaching older year groups or the sixth form, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I think that where Public Health England have been absolutely clear on is that there's, schools operating, and bear in mind we saw almost 1.7 million children back in school before the summer term, sort of having the privilege of being back with their teachers, back with their friends and learning. And actually Public Health England have been absolutely consistent to show there's no evidence that this is causing problems in terms of coronavirus. And Public Health England have worked really closely and actually been the ones with us who's drafted the guidance about making sure we've got the systems of controls so that children can return safely, but also staff, teachers, teaching assistants, and all support staff are able to return safely as well.
Okay, well, we'll wish everyone good luck getting those results today. 250,000 students. Thank you very much indeed, Education Secretary Gavin Williamson.